Welcome back to the #1 TV program on the planet. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon and The Blackest Heart, both books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I am going to be reviewing A Gathering of Crows by Brian Keene. The horror novel, A Gathering of Crows, came out in 2010. Let's talk about the cover, because you know I like graphic design and cover art. So I think this one's got a pretty cool little cover here. It looks like a gathering of crows. I mean, it is what it says it is. I like the color of it. I like the wraparoundness of it. The back side of it's got a interesting, well, that's not interesting. That's just typical backside of book jacket copy, but the cover's cool, so we'll give it an A+ on that. This is book number 3 in his Levi Stoltzfus trilogy. I don't know why it's called the Levi Stoltzfus trilogy, other than Levi Stoltzfus is in these books. The first book in the Levi Stoltzfus trilogy was Dark Hollow, which I read and reviewed on the channel. The second book was Ghost Walk, which I read and reviewed on the channel. You can see those. So if you want to see my reviews of those two books, just type in Dark Hollow or Ghost Walk and my last name, Durfee. The review will come on your screen. I mean, it'll show up on your screen. This is my Brian Keene book collection. This will be the 4th book we've reviewed. They're usually fun books to review. This one reminded me a lot of Stephen King's Under the Dome. It just was about a small town with a massive cast of characters. One of the issues I took with the book was it's a little bit short. I mean, Under the Dome was like 1,000 pages. It, by Stephen King's, 1,000 pages. You know, a lot of these epic horror novels that have a huge cast I think this just deserved a lot more pages to flesh out the story, because we get a lot of characters, starting with Levi Stoltzfus, our main character, who is this former Amish guy who's sort of into investigating the occult and things like that. And he's been, like I said, he's been in the other books. What happens is we're in Brinkley Springs, West Virginia. It's a dying town. In fact, we get about 5 pages of Brian Keene describing this dying town in just loving detail, and I really enjoyed that. I absolutely loved the way he described this town. It was beautifully written. I understood everything about the town and the people that he was going to start introducing me to. But before he started introducing me to a lot of the people, well, we find out that there's these mysterious figures, these demons, that are perched up on the electrical wires, on the electrical towers. There's 5 of them. And then all of a sudden, all the electricity goes out in the town. Kind of like S.M. Stirling's The Change series, where there's no electricity. And maybe you saw me review some of those books too. S.M. Stirling, The Change series. It's all about a post-apocalyptical world where just nothing electric works ever again. And people have to... It's kind of what's happening to this town of Brinkley Springs. These demons show up and the power goes out. And they're set to destroy the town. They come to this town to destroy the town. They kind of have a little bit of an argument up while they're perched up on the electric tower. One of the demons is kind of like, why are we concentrating on small towns? Why don't we go with some bigger cities, because that's all we've been doing is in with these small towns, and they're working for the devil is what it is. There's a lot of stuff about God and the devil and the afterlife in this, and these guys are working for the devil. They want to destroy this town, but why? What's their purpose? Well, we'll figure it out. We'll find out. And then we get to meet all our huge cast of characters. And they're mostly interesting. I just wanted to know more about each one of them. Axel Perry, he's the old man. He's widowed. He is now dealing with the power outages. Jean Sullivan and her son Bobby, they've got their issues. Donnie Osborne, he's a young Iraq veteran, and he's involved in this because these demons start to wreak havoc in the darkness. And things go haywire. Things go ass over teapot pretty quick, because every Brian Keene novel that we've reviewed, that it just gets weird. It spirals into degeneracy, into madness, mayhem, and chaos. And this is what is happening. And then we've also got Randy, Sam, Stephanie, and Linda, the teenagers that we get to follow around. And then there's Esther and Myrtle. They own a bed and breakfast. They also themselves dabble in just a little bit of voodoo and the supernatural. So we get to see them. There's a link to them in the stories. And these demons, they're just out to devour souls. That's all they want to do. Now, one of them would like to be in a bigger city devouring souls. And so, they're not, the demons are not all on the same page. Let's just say that. And once they devour a soul, there's nothing left but ashes, and people traipse through the ashes, and they're like, what is this? Takes them a while to figure out, oh, this is my neighbor Jim. Just a pile of ashes now. The demons got him. True religion versus fake religion. Some of these people are devout. Some of them are not. The demons themselves know there's a God, and they're out to destroy him and all of his followers. That's what we're dealing with. It's a very but we're just focused in on this little town as if a dome has been placed over it. That's why I compare it to the Under the Dome. Just a huge cast of characters dealing with just stuff a little bit like that book, Phantoms by Dean Koontz too. That's another comparison that just I thought of. So if you like those two books, if you like Phantoms by Dean Koontz, if you like Under the Dome by Stephen King, this is a good book. This is I will say, of the Levi Stoltzfus trilogy, though, I will say Dark Hollow was my favorite. That thing was just pure insanity. And Ghost Walk was pretty good too. I like that one. This one was probably my least favorite of the three. My favorite book of Brian Keene's is Urban Gothic, and you should watch my review of Urban Gothic. That review is off the hook. I'm going to give this one about a 7.5 out of 10. Definitely kept me interested. There were some LOL moments. There were some moments that were just grotesque, which is what you want in a horror novel. It delivered on the points that I was expecting it to. And now I've got to read, because I haven't read all of these. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more Brian Keene novels to read and review on the channel. So we'll get to that later. Until then,